It's amazing.
Oh, and you've got Beyonce hair going with that breeze.
Apparently I do. My effects people are getting paid double their usual salary tonight.
Oh, well, you do have...
Which is to say not at all. Mostly because I'm schwitzing like a pig because we are on the lanai again.
The lanai.
We are on the lanai, but it's also currently set up for
an office.
Yeah, and my yoga studio stuff. So, and that's probably why, as much as I'm always wearing sweats and stuff, I do look like I'm about to go exercise after this, because in fact I might be.
For good reason, yeah.
But we're in the same room, which is odd. It's been a few weeks since we were in the same space.
Yeah, I can't believe this is happening, but
I like it.
Prove it.
See, Juliana's there, and I'm here. Now it's weird again. All right, and the mic is here. And as you all have known, those who have been listening for a while, we have the airplanes that come over from time to time, because I live in the approach to Teterboro Airport. But, yeah, this week is kind of fun and cash, and we're on the back porch. But you picked last week I picked an article that made me go, oh my god, and this week you picked this a while ago and sent it in my direction. And
yes, and this is not a subject that makes me go, oh my god, but it's a subject that's important to me.
Yeah, and it's fine. I'm going to start off this episode with just a straight-up confession. I don't read nearly as many plays as I should. I am familiar with a lot of stuff going on in the article we're going to be talking about. I believe it was called 25 contemporary plays that every actor should know.
That's right.
Did I pull that out of thin air? Go me.
That's exactly right. And I think it's should read, not... No, you're right. You said it verbatim.
Look at me on my lack of sleep. But yeah, I do not read nearly enough plays. But I have passing familiarity with pretty much everything on this list. One or two I don't.
Yeah.
And I have a couple quibbles with a couple of them, actually.
Good.
So this should be a fun discussion to be having.
Good.
But first of all, how was your week? Since you're in front of me, we always try to do this when we start each episode, but it's weird when we're in the same room.
Yeah, I feel like you know most of my week because you've been a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 1776 rehearsal.
We
so
did.
That was really
really nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Pretty just a rehearsal.
Yeah, and you had a little Valley of the Dolls stuff going on.
Yeah. Start masterclass tomorrow. So when this drops, I will have been fully in that
fully
world.
Immersed in that world. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Which is exciting.
Oh my gosh. And we are actually recording on what I typically consider my dramaturgy day for 1776. So I'm spending time with John. But we're not necessarily talking all 1776 at all.
No.
But that's fine. But now we need... Well, and the other thing about this list that caught me was I was like...
Tell me in the show.
I will do it in the show. We have this problem where Kay just needs to talk off. I need to not talk because then we have no content.
And then I'm not surprised. I'm like, I know. And then you get this face.
RBF face. It's a fun thing that happens between us. So do you have your story moved or shall we continue to let the...
Story is officially moved.
All right. So yeah. So what's this thing I'm seeing on the running order in front of me? She said casually.
All right. When I was 12 years old, I was not a theater kid. I didn't know a lot about theater, but I was a book collector.
Okay.
I've always been interested in antiques, and specifically mid-century. And so in an antique store, I think, not a used bookstore, but at an antique store, I got a beautiful book that was a collection of Eugene O'Neill plays, that was published maybe in the 1950s.
Wow.
So I took it home. I'm 12 years old. No, I was not a theater kid, so I loved T.S. Eliot and did not know what Cats was.
See, that was my thing. I knew what Cats was, and I went, wait, these are poems? Yeah,
no, I mean, I knew what the poetry was. I had no idea it had been turned into. So
an odd avant-garde musical where
yes.
people will walk through the audience and occasionally rub your leg, and somehow we're not disturbed.
The theater geek in me had not yet been awakened.
Right.
I was still a book nerd. So I I started reading this collection of plays, and I'm 12, and I was precocious in some ways, but I didn't understand it.
Okay.
But reading the preface, I knew that it was supposed to be important.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
get what you mean, yeah.
I was being told this is important.
The wording made me laugh, yeah.
So I just put it aside. And a few years later, maybe 2 or 3 years later, I picked it up again, and I was like, oh! And this was also like when I'm becoming alive to the world of theater.
Right.
So all the way to introduce, sometimes you mentioned that you don't read a lot of plays.
I'm not as well read as I should be, truly.
And sometimes even when people say, oh, you have to read this, sometimes we just need to fall into it on our own.
Yeah.
Because I think of the reading of script and analyzing of scripts as being a very personal process, even
Yes.
though I do consult a lot of analyses and reviews to help with my interpretation. It's still something that once you get into, it's not hard to keep falling into.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's as we're going down this list, do we want to how do we want to unbox this list? Do you want to just kind of say this list out, talk, or do you want? I mean,
well, is there ever a play, Ben? Have you ever read a play that you've never seen?
Frequently, especially I did major in musical theater, and so we actually had a thick. Nowadays, you'd probably get it electronically on a tablet or something, and a bunch of PDFs from your professor. But I say this 10 years ago when I was in college, we got a thick book of photocopied.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, David Baker, I love
a
you.
Syllabus of
thick
plays.
Of plays, and it was Three Tall Women and so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that came to the top of my head, but I think that was actually the first play in this binded thing that we got. But we read a lot of those, and I actually found myself wishing that there had been more of a chance to see these performed. Frankly, I am a visual type learner, and it was seeing Shakespeare performed live that really unlocked it for me, as far as the classics are concerned. But there are a number of plays that I was I would want to see it performed. I actually wrote one of my big term papers was on August Wilson's play cycle. And one of his plays is on this list in this article, Jitney. And I read them all, of course, but I didn't really have the chance, especially in my very upstate New York, white suburban. They weren't I couldn't go see Radio Golf tomorrow. It wasn't going to happen. So in that way, I sort of wished I'd had the ability to see and read all of Wilson's cycle. And I guess that's kind of the top example that comes to my mind, because I had way more opportunities to see things like The Iceman Cometh or all these. I don't want to mess up our order here, but can I just say I've got an issue with one of the plays on this list?
Of course,
because I'm not sure why the Seagull made this as a modern.
Contemporary?
Contemporary. That's what I'm saying.
Chekhov is considered contemporary.
Okay. Because it's 1896. I went contemporary? Really? I get it as a mid... I totally understand why it's something you should be familiar with.
Some people cut off the definition of contemporary at different places.
Okay,
around 1950 or pre-World War I.
Which I guess is where my brain is at.
My brain tends to go post-World War I on.
Okay.
That's me personally, but a lot of... analysts will call.
Got it. Okay. Because I was just looking here
Brr? Yeah, okay. I know.
You know that guy who I bumped into at the cafe the other day, Anton Chekhov, who's still cracking out hits. God bless him. I don't know how his knees are holding up.
Well, and it also speaks to the style is a more contemporary style compared to
okay, and
where he was.
I get it. It just stuck out. I was like, because there's a lot of 2015 on this list, to be honest.
This is my second year. I don't know if we've talked a lot about this, but this is my second year reading 50 plays a year, and the reason I found no. That's because I feel humbled by this world and this profession. So the least I can do is read a play a week.
Be ready to
take a couple weeks off.
Got it.
But so last year I did it. I kept a spreadsheet. I'll show it to you sometime. I'm really excited. I'm in my second year. I'm a little bit behind. And this article I pulled up because I'm thinking, what haven't I read yet? What's on my list?
Where are my gaps? Yeah.
Right. What do I need to catch up on to get me back in? Because I think I am something like 10 books behind for where I need to be at this point in the year.
If you're behind, I'm hopeless. All right. So, if you're enjoying this episode, perhaps you should roll back through. I'm going to intercut with Juliana right now because I'm killing her, but I'm not breaking my focus at all because you are all that matters to me, camera. And those who are going, I'm interested in this episode, but what else should I be listening to? Then you should go back to episode 6, Stars of the Stage and Silver Screen. And I'm also going to be seductive right now because I mentioned one of my favorite people in the world, Jerry Orbach, and B. Arthur. And who else?
Paul Newman.
And
Shelley Winters.
And Shelley Winters. Why are we saying that you should, as a compliment to this? Because they would have starred in many of these plays we're discussing today. So check that out, won't you?
Wow, how can they not check it out after that?
It's like she's sweaty and her hair's a mess. I'm turned on.
Check it out if you know what I mean.
Staring down the barrel of the lens.
Good Lord, I can feel like I gotta take a shower. Yeah. So let's just get into the article. You can find the link to the article down below. I'm pulling a K right now.
Oh, good.
You can find a link to the article below. Read along with us if you like.
Yeah. Backstage.com, a fine resource that if you're in the theater world, shame on you for not knowing. But if you're tangent to the theater world, become familiar because there's some good content there.
There's really great content. For example, this article.
Yeah.
So, this is the Backstage Guide to the 25 contemporary plays every actor should know.
Alphabetically.
Arranged. So we're going to start with Angels in America, Tony Kushner.
1991.
Do you agree? Is this one?
Totally. And
it's a great way to kick off the list.
My big regret is I did not get to see this revival that just closed because, it cleaned up at the Tonys for a reason.
It did, yes.
And it's classic. If you have not, I would say actually, as I'm looking at this list, you're a contemporary actor, if you're unfamiliar with Angels, get on that now.
Yeah. I've heard from many people that this play has changed their life, whether in reading it, performing it, or watching it. Yeah. This is very powerful.
Adore.
Play. August Osage County.
Yes, that was
Tracy Letts, which I'm doing in September.
That was brand new. Yes, that was your most recent booking, and I'm jealous. That was brand new on Broadway the year I graduated from college. So I not only read it, I didn't get to see it in New York, but we definitely talked about it in my classes, and absolutely deserves to be on this list. Yeah. 2007.
Blackbird. David Harrower.
Gee, that sounds familiar. 2004. Actually, I was surprised. I was like, that's from 2004. Like, I guess I felt like it was a little bit more recent.
It kicked around in the UK a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, before it came to Broadway. But we have some very dear friends who just performed this off Broadway and
had a fantastic run.
Yeah. And you can see an interview that we did with them.
Yep.
We'll also link that episode below.
In our archives, yes.
That's right. Barry Child, Sam Shepard.
Dang, 1978. That blew my brain back a little bit. I didn't realize it had been around that long. And that's one I'm less familiar with, to be honest.
Yeah, Sam Shepard, again, some of these plays are important because they define a new way of acting for actors, a new way of writing for playwrights. Sam Shepard's absolutely one of those who is almost his own genre that way. Correct. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Oh, man, baby, which was, I believe was a book in 2003, right? And then it was adapted not too long ago in 2012. Curious Incident jumps out to me because it won a choreography, Tony. Like, plays don't do that, but it's so vital for this piece. Yeah. Like, and I would actually say for contemporary interest in theater as well, that's definitely one you want to get your hands on and take a read of. Right. Because I had a couple friends who didn't get to see it in New York, but they told me they saw it on tour, and it was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
another play where I get the report a lot that people leave changed.
Yeah. Man. Choreography, Tony. That's just so weird for me. That's so weird. Okay.
Disgraced.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this?
Not a whole ton. That was the same year, 2012.
This is one of the shows I know is kicking around regional theater right now. So if you're joining us from somewhere else in the U.S. and you don't have access to Broadway or off-Broadway, there's very likely going to be a production of Disgraced.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely making the rounds. Yeah.
Doubt.
Oh, God, a classic Doubt.
John Patrick Shanley.
Oh, my God. I read that.
John Patrick Shanley is as an author, is on the do not perform list for college audition monologues. Do you know what I'm talking about? This list of like, these are overperformed.
Oh, freaking yes.
So some lists say, they come out and say anything by John Patrick Shanley or anything by Neil LaBute. I mean, it's funny. Really funny.
It's funny because, again, musical theater being much more my realm, it's kind of like Jason Robert Brown, anything from Songs for a New World, they go, please don't. We've all heard Stars in the Moon until we're ready to jump off a tall building.
But there's a reason. John Patrick Shanley, there's a reason. I find it easy to perform because it is so.
And that's where I was kind of going with that too. I was like, when I recently saw the City Center Songs for a New World, I was reminded, I was like, there's a reason these songs are standards, because they are well done. And Shanley's, monologues as such that you pull from his work is very much the same case. I mean, I've worked on a couple different productions of Doubt. There was that very famous film adaptation that was only a few years ago, Meryl Streep. And no, it totally belongs on this list. And that was from 2004. I put dates on all these.
I'm glad you did.
That's how I'm helping.
Yes, it's super helpful.
Look at me helping.
No, it's great. It's great. Eclipsed is something that's also going around the regional theater scene.
Yes, and I have that. It's from 2009. I made little marks next to some of these if it had like a moment for me, because it's an all-female cast and it's African American, which is, I feel, not okay representation on this list, but as a genre, especially female African American focused plays are deeply appreciated, underperformed, undernoticed. I spoke about August Wilson in the first segment. This was kind of a little side passion for me when I was in college, because I was in such a lily-white community. I was fortunate to attend a church where we had a Hispanic congregation, and we had quite a lot of diversity. But in my day-to-day, especially in my high school experience, that just wasn't really a part of life. So in college, I felt this desire and this need to jump into the genre and really explore what's there. So something like Eclipsed, which I have to admit, that's one I really want to see performed. I have read. But there's a lot on this list.
It was just off Broadway.
And
I don't know what the deal is with the rights, but I know it's being performed regionally.
Totally.
Right now.
Now for something completely different.
The Glass Menagerie. Tennessee Williams.
Only in alphabetical order would these be back to back.
Right.
Glass Menagerie, which goes back to 1944. I mean, that's another one that I would say contemporary from the standpoint of where we're kind of drawing that line in this episode. But
and acting styles changing a bit, being important for that.
I've done design for the show a couple times. I've never been in it, but most assuredly read. It's another one that I look at this list and I'm like, that's a classic for a reason. And if you don't know Glass Menagerie, get on it now.
Oh yeah. For sure. For sure. The Heidi Chronicles. You know this, right?
Of course I know the Heidi.
You can't have a degree in theater
without
having read Wendy Wasserstein.
1988, the Heidi Chronicles.
Yeah. Do you do anything? I feel like we could cast Heidi Chronicles pretty easily.
Oh yeah.
Among our friends group.
Totally. That's another thing us theater people do sometimes. We'll be like, we have friends and we really love these plays. We're like, okay, well, nobody's producing it. Let's all just at least do a sit-down reading. And those are so much fun. One of our good friends has been doing that a little bit, and I hope we get back to it soon. It's a lot of fun.
It's a joyful experience.
God. And I'm realizing how long it's been. This might be one I need to dust off, me and my library card. I need to go take a visit downtown. I'm excited about the next one.
The next one is Taylor Mack's Here.
H-I-R. Because this is, of all of this on here, I think this one carries the experimental banner the strongest. And it's a 2015. That's very, very recent. I'm intrigued by it. I have not read this piece. I read reviews on it. It plays fast and loose with gender norms.
There's a trans role, I think, for one of the actors.
And that's why it's called H-I-R. Here, pronounced, but it's a mix between her and Sir, right? Or she and he? She and she, yes. But that's, if there was one, as I was looking at the list here, going, I need to read that tomorrow, that's on there. Because it's just deeply intriguing. I think I read a review, it wasn't Times, but it was one of the theater blogs, and I went, this is fascinating. Please, yes.
The Humans is
man.
next. Did you see this? This I feel like just ran. What's the year on this?
I did not see it. It's 2015. So, or at least original productions of it. I didn't put down when it hit Broadway necessarily.
Right.
Like you were saying, certain things were kicking around for a while before they landed. But The Humans, haven't read it.
I haven't read it either. This is definitely going on my
We're making so much homework for ourselves.
List.
It's like episode /
Yeah.
I don't read enough. Yeah, that's how this whole thing...
none of this is intended to make you...
This isn't shaming.
And truly, there are different kinds of actors. Some actors only want to do, improv, or they only want to do film or television or commercials. If you're going to do theater, we're not shaming you. We're just encouraging each other.
Get read, see what's out there. Yeah. And be
informed.
And I guess I'm also a little bit hard on myself because there's no reason someone who's in musical theater should be turning a blind eye to plays as much as there are days I do.
Indecent.
Yeah, Indecent, 2015 initial production. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this?
Have not. I heard 1,000 things about it.
Yes, Paula Vogel, who's like royalty.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've submitted actually for this,
Decent's a good
but
base.
has not been
It's a solid base. Yeah.
brought in. You've read it? Or
Yeah.
parts of it?
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking about it and going. I had a couple friends I know who went to see it because the production. It was like if there's one thing you catch before it closes that season, it was make sure you go.
Do you happen to recall like their specific reaction to it? I've actually heard that it's polarizing. That it's
exactly.
difficult
That
to
was
sell to regional audiences.
Well, yeah, and that was, I think, at least one of my friends. Their concern on that was going, yeah, it was super powerful. I don't know what kind of legs it's going to have regionally, or because you do have to think about it. You used your producer brain last week when we were talking about things, and I think a lot of times with some plays, you look at them and go, it's making a really strong artistic statement, but you also have to put on the commercial hat for a minute and be like, is this going to work? Is it going to get produced a lot? Musicals sometimes have an easier time of it from a standpoint of people will come see a toe tapper.
They will.
But that's my old timey voice. It's really bad.
My classic theater voice.
Well, I mean, but then that's why in musical theater, though, you have things that weren't so commercially successful, like a Seussical, that will now live forever with kids' troops.
Yeah.
But when it comes to some plays, like Indecent is a really thought-provoking piece, but I think because it's written about a taboo situation to begin with.
Right.
Like, I think it would take the right company willing to do it in the right market.
Yeah.
Would be kind of where I'd put that.
Yeah.
Haha.
Now we've got Jitney.
Jitney, 1982. Part of what I'd mentioned before, August Wilson's play cycle. Kind of the African-American experience through time.
Yes.
Like this thing, it was kind of the thing I got directed to when I said this is an interest area of me. This is where I sincerely don't have much knowledge base and have not had the opportunity to see these things performed. So of everything in the cycle, Jitney is the one I would put up here.
He writes it in 79, right?
Yeah, what?
He writes it in 1979?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it
made it, 82. Oh man, I just have to keep telling myself this is alphabetical because some of these, the way they're abutted, I feel like we're zipping around from era to era here.
Because now we have Eugene O'Neill, Long Day's Journey into Night.
1956.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really more closer and contemporary to the Glass Menagerie than what we just spoke of.
Yes, but a very different voice.
A very different voice, yeah. But I'm bringing up the years on these also just to talk about kind of in the framework of what society was paying attention to and tuned into at that point in time.
And we are a theater history podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So it's on point here. But Long Day's Journey totally deserves to be on this list.
Noises Off!
Yes, Noises, 1980.
You've done tech for Noises Off, right?
I have done backstage work on Noises twice now.
Okay.
Part of the
Which
reason,
is a huge part of the production.
Theaters that don't do musicals produce Noises Off because it's huge. Or theaters that are only known for musicals and don't do plays.
Okay. I was like, what?
Yeah, I went backwards. Theaters that only do musicals and don't do plays, you'll see them do Noises because it's huge.
Yeah.
It is, that said, the production that I did down here, we fit into a very tiny space, and it was partly because the ingenious set design of Jim Simpson permitted our ability to turn the set completely around because Noises is a show within a show.
Yes.
And you want to see the backstage action. In fact, the entire second act. I can't imagine you doing it without having a set on a turntable. But yeah, theaters that only do musicals, you'll see them throw Noises in there. And it is kind of your slapstick comedy standard for a reason.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It is so well written.
I love what I do want to quote the article here because it's summarized here. It's included because it is a masterclass in a lesson every actor must learn, regardless of genre: timing. Noises Off is an ensemble piece that works only when every single member of the cast is performing with their timing nailed down to the millisecond.
Yeah, and it's one of the few plays that I mean, you will have fight calls for plays all the time, especially in like a Shakespeare piece or something where it's really dangerous and you need to be careful. But like, we had stage choreo calls for noises because, especially that second act, it's not the dialogue. It's all the stuff that's happening. It's making sure that he swings at you with the axe at the right time and Brooke is clear so that we can drop the panty. So if you don't know noises, I'm not giving you anything clearer. You need to look this up. Hopefully all of what I'm saying right now is enticing you. I'll throw sardines in here as well, and now go look. But, you know, noises totally deserves to be on this list.
It is so funny. You're right. The order, the juxtaposition here, because we go into next Larry Kramer's Normal Heart, The Normal Heart.
Elsewhere, like this should actually be in the same conversation we're talking about Angels in America, sort of.
Yeah.
But Normal Heart was 1985, which caught me because I'll be honest, I backed into Normal Heart via Mark Ruffalo's production, the film version.
Yeah.
And I
have a friend who's in that.
Yeah, it's, oh my god, I cried so hard. Normal Heart is heavy. It's tough. But yeah, so I guess what I'd say to you is maybe not necessarily, if you're unfamiliar with Angels and Normal Heart, don't do it as a two-shot, unless you have access to a very sugary beverage or a pile of kittens and puppies to make you feel better. It's deeply important theater. They are standards in, I guess, what we're going to call a subgenre.
Sure.
Talking about what was a super taboo subject forever. But yeah, the Year on Normal Heart caught me because it shouldn't have in hindsight because, of course, it was written right in the height of the AIDS epidemic.
Yes.
But it required, absolutely, read that. And now we're moving on to a piece that should have been mentioned with Jitney, A Raisin in the Sun.
That's it.
Which is 1959, which makes it a contemporary in the same breath where we're talking about Glass Menagerie and Long Day's Journey.
That's right. And this is one that I've never read, but I've seen. So it'd be interesting to go back in.
Yeah. Actually, if we're talking about things that theater troupes will produce and not necessarily like Raisin, I see get done a lot for theater troupes that for whatever reason might not do something in the Wilson cycle. They're like, well, it's Raisin, so it's a classic. And I was like, yeah, but you can do more there. You can do more there. I would love to see like a production of Raisin in the Sun, something in the August Wilson cycle, do Caroline or Change to have a musical. Like, I'm programming I was like, you know, go into, this is your season now. I had a friend do a very successful production of Caroline or Change, and people were like, wow, I didn't even know this thing existed. And I went,
yeah.
Oh.
Ruined.
Is
next on the list. And it got the...
This is one of those times that actually these belong in the same genre. But keep going.
The 2009 Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yes.
I'm not so familiar with this.
It is, and that's one that I'm also looking on here. I put Fs next to ones that were female-heavy plays, and I went, why do I not know this as well as I should? It's very, very recent, and... I need to put that on my short list as well.
Yeah.
And now, oh boy.
Dun, dun, dun.
The thing that I criticized in segment 1 is back. The Seagull.
Okay, so here, let me give the argument.
Defend the Seagull.
Let me give you the argument. Okay. Let me get a little nerdy.
Please.
Okay.
I'm not crossing my arms makes me unopened.
Let's talk about Beethoven for just a second.
Oh, but yes.
If you look at at the first part, the first chunk of Beethoven's work, it fits squarely in the classical period, the same world as Mozart and Haydn. But something happens, and he becomes the father of the Romantic era. There is an evolution in his own writing that ushers in a brand new era of classical orchestral composition.
Yes.
OMG, it's a big deal. Chekhov is a big deal too. It's the same thing. He's ushering in contemporary theater.
Got it.
So that's why it's, you know, a lot of people will say, well, he started it all. Should he then become...
So he deserves to be kind of leading the parade.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where there may be some playwrights who are contemporary to Chekhov who fit still in a post-romantic era.
Right.
That would not be considered contemporary. Where this one, I think, is really...
They weren't forwarding the genre.
Style.
They weren't pushing things forward. Okay, you know what? You sold me on it.
This is another one. I do want to quote the article here. Anton Chekhov is in many ways the grandfather of contemporary dramatic playwriting, due largely in part to his implementation of what isn't exactly in the text.
Okay.
subtext.
Interesting.
He brings in the idea of subtext.
And I've read The Seagull. It's been a long time, but yeah, and that's one I've never seen performed, and probably should get on that.
This is one that I performed in college after obsessing over it. Then obsessed over it some more, and I've never.
And then you obsess some more.
I continue to obsess.
I like it.
This is a work that I obsess over, and I hope to direct one of these days because I'm just so obsessed.
Yes.
The next one, Significant Other,
2015.
I love that they call this. It could be called millennial drama.
Okay. Yeah, actually, this is gonna make a quick pop out for me as far as one of my friends who really isn't into plays, and I'm sitting here going, I need to read and catch up, and I know this is where I'm lacking. The number of plays like Broadway plays I've seen, I can count on one hand, unfortunately. I've seen a lot of regional, this and that, but like if I have a choice between a musical or a play, I'll go to a play every time. But one of my friends who, that's me being open to it and wanting to at least try the flavor. I have a friend who goes, why do you bother with the contemporary play? It's all about a one-room. Well, thank you. Yeah. Hey, look, there's your producer hat. It keeps dropping in out of nowhere. No, but kind of going, God, but they're all like four people sitting in a room on a couch talking about feelings, or like a family throwing things at each other. Okay. It's not, I'm sitting here going, well, way to be very dismissive, but at the same time, then I look at how many on these lists, I was like, family drama.
Yeah.
Family drama.
Family drama with throwing things.
Family drama with AIDS. Like, just we can cut that. But
subtitle for this episode.
Oh my God, no! And so it was one of those moments where I was like, yeah, but it is really like the vehicle to explore things, and how much more universal than people sitting in a room and talking about shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, why do sitcoms usually start in people's family rooms or in their office spaces?
We could take that argument and be like, well, how many situation comedies are people sitting around in their apartment which they should not be able to afford? And I don't know who I could be referencing.
Who has a skylight in New York City? Okay.
Well, clearly that she's able to pay for this place with her barista salary. So I guess I just wanted to pop that out there as we're talking about things like Significant Other in here. And
Significant Other is definitely kicking around the regional theater scene. The theater where I'm doing masterclass tomorrow, they just closed Significant Other a few weeks ago.
Nice.
I know it's around. Small mouth sounds.
I am so this whole strange piece. I'm so intrigued.
We got it.
We need to see it though.
We got to get into this.
You can't read it. Well, you can read it. Not really. Explain it quickly, because this of everything on this list, this is, even though I sort of pointed it here, this is This goes into experimental,
for sure,
weird area.
2-hour drama with almost no dialogue, the spoken dialogue.
Right.
Let's see what they describe it here. That acting is as much what is said as what is not, and bringing to life the literal blank pages of this very human triumph will require any actor to acknowledge as much. Let's get it. Let's get into it. Let's figure it out.
Wow.
Moving on to Speed the Plow, David Mamet. I have a love-hate relationship with this man.
I think everybody has a Mamet thing. I read American Buffalo in college.
You can't Mamet with being like, Mamet. Like, it's like...
Good Lord.
And he's also another playwright that I kind of obsess over. I kind of stalk. He's on my Google alerts. I listen to every interview. I've done his masterclass on writing.
Kay, raised by very conservative parents, home for the holiday. I have the text of American Buffalo that I'm pouring through.
Do not let them see that.
I left it on the table.
No.
Dad was like, what are you reading? And I went, please keep paying for the last 2 years of my college experience.
Oh, no.
Needless to say, my parents will not be going to Mamet. Were I to perform in a Mamet, which I have not that they have come to many of my shows recently, but it would definitely be a not for the Cook family.
Have you seen Speed the Plow?
I have not.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it.
You saw it?
And it was amazing. It's so fast. Great. It's satire. And you gotta have, your head's gotta be in that place.
Yep.
Your head's gotta be in a special place when you see David Mamet.
Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, Mamet.
Here's another one that you might have an issue with being on this list.
View from the Bridge.
A View from the Bridge.
Which was 1955.
Yeah, this is Arthur Miller.
Yep.
who...
It's the only Miller on this list.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah, that hit me. I was like...
Is it bad that I love Arthur Miller because of Marilyn Monroe?
No, it's fine. It's what your reference point is.
Oh, golly.
But, no, Arthur Miller is one of those that... I'm surprised Death isn't on here. Death of a Salesman isn't on
Yes, or even Crucible.
Crucible is the one I've done, and it's because it's got a big female cast, and I feel like it gets produced all the time.
Can I give an opinion?
Sure.
I think it's easier to get people who are not great actors to do something histrionic than to do something a little more quiet and honest.
You know, that's fair.
So I feel like with young actresses who have all of the moot and
all of the Abigail.
Yeah, there's so
vomit.
much angst
Yes.
that's ready to come out that this I feel is appropriate for colleges, not just then the casting ages are about right, but like this is stuff that actors like to do.
Yeah, it's also, you know, anything that you kind of hit it on the nail on the head with the history angle of it, because also you're going to get cross-major stuff. You're going to get people who are going to come
I
to
said
see
histrionic.
it. Histrionic.
But
well,
no, there's a plane, but no, you're right.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, a lot of times if it's history-based,
yes,
it's
right.
easier to get other people into it, and the producer, they put their hats on, you know, kids have to read. Actually, I think a lot of high schools still read Crucible.
Are we still a puritanical society? Is this still how we
could
operate?
have deeper after conversations and essay
Talk
questions on the test.
My first job out of college was basically director of education for an opera company, and I wrote curriculum. I wrote the study guides that when high schools or junior highs go see a production of something, they have to get funding from the state, they have to have like an educational component to it. But yeah, things like Crucible, those study guides are so easy to write.
Pretty much 19,000 of them are written, and I've told you my experience in college when I was working with the New York State Theater Institute. We did 10 a.m. performances for school groups, no matter what the show was.
Right.
And we would do, they were called in-services afterwards,
Exactly
where those of us who were free labor, slave labor interning, were matched up with a company actor, and we would lead a class. So for me, as far as like educational component in your theater, that's just like second nature. I was like, what do you mean you're doing a show without having like a talk back or a conversation with the audience? Like, that's always been deeply embedded in what I do. So yeah, something like Crucible, it writes itself as far as that's concerned.
A View from the Bridge, I read before I understood acting.
Okay.
And then I saw the movie. Right. And I've never seen it performed, but this is absolutely going on my list to read this year. I really want to revisit, and because I'm curious. I don't remember reading it. And
this has been a couple episodes in a row. We talked about this now, but kind of being like revisiting a piece later on in life and having a whole new kind of lens on it and going, that's what was going on.
Yes.
Yeah. But we're almost at the end of the list.
Very lastly, and then what a way to go.
I know. 1962 with
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? One of my favorite pieces of all time.
Of all time.
Actually requested this as an anniversary present.
Okay.
2-3 years ago when this was playing off Broadway, and it was fantastic. It really is. If your relationship is in a good place, it's a great date movie. A great date play.
Great date play. Yeah. Oh man.
But it's if you're watching this performed well, you're gonna have
very deep feelings on it.
Yeah.
Although I'm looking at this title and going, my friend who was like, people sitting in a room talking about their problems. I was like, all right,
this is the genre of
sitting
in a room talking, sometimes throwing things.
Frequently throwing things.
But Edward Albee is another playwright who we could list several of his works as important contemporary plays.
Absolutely.
But I do like that they chose this one for a short list of 25.
A short list of 25 plays, which we broke down from piece to piece. Hopefully one of these has jumped out to you, or all of these have jumped out to you, or if you're Kay, you're going, my library card's going to get some use very soon. It's all good.
So if you are new to our channel...
I just ate a really sour berry.
So you're like, oh...
If you're new to our channel, Kay's like...
Let's try this again.
Take two.
Take two. If you are new to our channel, Strange Deer puts out a new episode every week, and sometimes we drop bonus episodes throughout the week.
Be checking our social
if you're
media
not
out.
following us already, go ahead and click subscribe
Below.
to be notified for future episodes and to join our Strange Deer community. You can follow us at Strange Deer on Instagram and Twitter, and we also have a Facebook page,
Huzzah.
if that's your jam.
Huzzah. And actually, keep your eyes on Facebook and Instagram, because that's where we go live on Thursday nights. If you want to see what we're up to. What are you doing?
If you want to peek, a sneak peek before we actually make the episode.
Sneaky peek. I won't be eating any of those berries ever again. Like the corners of my mouth
There's
right
something
now.
like squeezing like that.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of plays, and I feel like, actually, in a way, there was a period in my life where I was guilty of feeling like, why should I read stuff that is out of my casting type?
Right.
And I think that might be why I leaned into, when I got to college, being like, let me read August Wilson's play cycle, because, yeah, not going to be in any of those. But I think what's important about it is, I mean, beyond just like being well read and being, I'm theater. It's
I can join this conversation.
Yes, exactly. Look at me bellying up to the bar with my water glass because I am classy.
You're a damn classy broad. You know?
I like it. You know what? I actually am wearing pants. It's great. No, I don't know why you think I wasn't. Hashtag no pants, no problem. None of this is making error, which means all of this is making error. But sincerely, being aware of kind of the currents of what's going on around you, as far, especially like current writings, what is kind of catching people's eye, I think is important. And it's the best thing about the play, as I'm making myself take off my musical theater hat, which I keep trying to put back on, it really lets us explore things that are going on. One of the plays that I wish had made this list was Lobby Hero.
Yeah.
Which actually
you saw that recently, right?
I did. I was happy,
in.
lucky to see. Yeah, actually, that was one of those things. It was on my anniversary with my husband, and Pac and I were just looking at what was on TDF, and we went, let's go to this. And it wasn't just because I love Captain America and because I love Chris Evans. That didn't hurt. But
can you put heart emojis coming out of my head right
I could. Spoiler alert, he's not, though, Captain America. He was playing kind of the D-bag.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And,
it's acting.
No, exactly. No, he's still fine. No, but speaking to, it felt like it could have been something that was written, like, right now. It's just 4 actors, yes, in a room, friend, who I'm not using your name, talking about problems, but they're in the lobby of a building. But I think the importance of reading things out of your casting type, because you're not always going to be perfect for every part and every piece, and staying aware of what's being said and expanding your own damn mind. I mean, beyond that, and being like, just to say, you know, I think a lot of times when we jump for parts, we're like, there's something in it that resonates with us, and it's like, that's my life experience. Or that's totally out of my life experience, and I want to, you know, that gives me some safe distance. It depends on how you best function.
Yes.
But in reading something that you could never put yourself in at all, there's great value to that.
Yeah.
And I encourage it.
Describe to our podcast listeners what I'm doing right now.
You're nodding a
I'm
lot.
like amening what you were saying.
Lest you think that Juliana has fallen off the lanai, or she jumped the plane that flew off. And now I'm talking to the speaker, but there's a camera there.
All of you out there in podcast land, can you hear me?
She's deeply into what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Yes, I'm amening.
Yes.
So, and I'm just going to talk real quickly. So we've listed off these plays. Maybe some of our other Strange Deers out there have been interested in some of these plays, or maybe they feel stuck because they're wondering, how do I get access to these plays? How can I actually read them? So let me tell you how I find plays to read. Some of these are absolutely free.
Free is a good word. Free is a very good word.
Free. Or low cost. Okay. You know, you can go on your town's library or your county's library.
Libraries exist.
And here, you can either put a book on hold that's in your library system, and they'll send it to you and send you a little email.
Yep.
Please tell me you use the libraries.
I use interlibrary loan. I live by the
interlibrary loan is a fantastic thing. They'll order it for you. You'll get an email saying it's there, and you go to your local library and you pick it up.
Yeah.
Or, at least with mine, you can get ebooks.
Exactly.
And they send you a link to your email.
Most places have ebook availability
and
now,
a lot of these works you're going to be able to find via ebook. You can also find things on Kindle, iBooks, Google Books. If you want to buy them, sometimes they're about $5.99,
right? Yeah,
$9.99.
Yeah,
depends on the work.
Because I think the other thing, sometimes people go, well, physical copy. Like I do know people who want to buy it. Like they're very into like the Drama Bookstore experience.
Yeah,
they're like, but where's my space in my house? That's why the ebook is so good.
I'm trying to start on the easiest to get to versus like actually use your legs for something. Okay, the next one as far as like what can I do from my bed. Is scribed or scribed.
Yeah.
I do not know how it is pronounced.
That's another one of those words. We do this every week as well, where we go, you write it down and then you're like, wait, how do I say that?
SCRIBD. Strangers, feel free to correct me. I'm an idiot when it comes to pronouncing some things. Scribed. Yeah, you can find a lot of cool stuff there. Lincoln Center Library, if you've ever gone to the Library of Performing Arts, they're at Lincoln Center.
Great resource.
Amazing resource. You mentioned the Drama Bookstore in New York City. You can actually sit there and read. You don't have to buy it.
I know, exactly. Okay. And I don't think they'll kick you out if you're trying to be cultural.
Now, if you do want to spend money, you might go to Amazon. I've gotten a lot of scripts from Amazon. I've gotten a lot of used scores, a lot of used
the marketplace on Amazon is a huge, fantastic resource for secondhand stuff. Yeah. Because sometimes there'll be pennies on what would be, unless you're married to a pristine copy, which is fine.
Right.
I just want to read it. I don't care if it's got your old blocking in it.
Yes, right, exactly. Then you can go straight to the source. DPS, Dramatic Publishing Company, BroadwayPlayPub.com, SamuelFrench.com, StagePlays.com. A
lot of options.
And you can purchase from the publisher.
Yes.
Last two, you can ask your friends if they want to do a script swap.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Maybe we should get this going.
We totally should. And it's
maybe the next time our friend Amy has another reading, we can bring scripts and trade and be like, I read this.
That would be good for that. Here, I'll hand you proof if you can get me wit. You know,
that's right. Yes, exactly.
This is how I'm bringing in other things that I have written at the bottom of my list. Going, why aren't you on this list?
Yes. So your friends, and then finally wrapping back to my Eugene O'Neill collection that I got when I was 12 from an antique store. You can always try an antique store or a used bookstore and maybe be inadvertently introduced to a work that you were not familiar with before.
Hey, bibliophiles out there, I consider myself part of your ranks. There's something very sensuous about a book. Yeah, actually, there's something very sensuous about reading a book.
I like to put my nose right in there.
It smells like text and ink and must.
Paper.
Semen. We're done. Okay.
What? This took a turn.
This is how I
hope you bleep that. I'm going to have to take some years. Kay.
What?
What's making you strange this week?
This week? This minute? This hour?
Yeah.
Well, I have been kind of... certainly not as busy as you've been, but I've had a bunch of new things happening, and kind of in the interest of just decompressing and having my space to have a silly laugh, Packy and I have been Netflixing ourselves, and this does sort of tie into things that have been performed on Broadway. It's not going to be on your 25 plays list, but...
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I've been... enjoying myself some John Mulaney and Nick Kroll's Oh Hello, with their two fabulous, creepy old male characters, Gil Faison and George St. Geegland. It's stupid, fun, laugh at things, feel 34. Also, just watching Mulaney stand up on the side.
Yeah.
So that's.
I love Nick Kroll. Have you watched Big Mouth?
I haven't.
Okay, you got to check it out.
Again, I've been in a role in this when I've been setting aside my serious brain and just letting myself laugh at too much tuna. I'll add some Nick Kroll to my running order. But so I've just been in that kind of have a silly laugh mode, which I think everybody needs. So if you haven't and you have the Netflix, you should be checking out Oh Hello.
Nice.
Nice. That's nice. The Netflix. And what's making you strange this week?
Well, okay. New book, new to me book that I it's so good. It's so good. It's Stella Adler on America's Master Playwrights.
Okay. Yeah, you're tying right in. I had to stretch a little.
Yeah, no, well, because this is kind of my hobby horse,
right?
You know, and so it's not easy. I got it all in the in the chamber, ready to go.
What chamber? Oh, okay. Not that chamber.
It's not the chamber you're thinking of. But in her preface, she's a delightful writer, and she writes so well on our craft. I just love everything that she writes and that she says.
There's a reason she's Stella Adler.
Yeah. So she begins the book saying, when people ask you what is your profession, what do you do, and you say I'm an actor, you sound like an idiot. And she said what we should be saying is I am an interpreter of scripts. And so I just wanted to read to you just a little bit, just a paragraph from this preface to this book, because it ties into what we've been talking about.
Cool.
Understand your profession. Interpretation means that I'm going to find the play and the playwright in me. I'm not going to do Ibsen if it's Chekhov. I'm not going to do Chekhov if it's Strindberg. I'm not going to do Strindberg if it's Shaw. These are different playwrights with different minds, and they say different things. The things they say will stay in literature forever. They want something. They have the mind to say it. They find the form to say it. An actor has to be big, enormous, a giant. His mind, his feeling, his ability to interpret must be that of a giant.
I love that.
So,
I love that.
Stella Adler on America's Master Playwrights.
Fantastic.
Good stuff if you are a theater actor.
I love it. Love it. So, I have no way to tie that to too much tuna. At all.
Thanks for joining us this week, guys. And stay strange, dear.
But not in a way that gets you arrested.
You're going to stop doing that?
Never!
Never!
All right, and now we're not going to see each other till the end of August, which is fine.
I know. 1 month.